So these are and here they're in the park holding Ganoderma, which was reserved for the royal family many thousands of years ago. It's been called the 10,000-year mushroom, also the mushroom of immortality, because people can live better longer. Against liver dysfunction, including chronic hepatitis, kidney dysfunction, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, number of forms of arthritis, insomnia, bronchitis, asthma, gastric ulcers, hardening of the arteries, low white blood cell count, meaning low immunity, diabetes, anorexia, and cancer, just to name a few. So what does this herb exactly do? When we start looking at inflammation, the Time cover story calls inflammation the secret killer. All of us have some level of silent inflammation. Inflammation precedes repair. We know that one of the primary factors that age our cells, age process, so it has implications for the brain, the immune system, the body, skin, sexual function, bone, and heart disease, all related to chronic inflammation. So there's this molecule, it's called nitric oxide, and that's what NO means. Heart surgeons or doctors, so they had a whole team of researchers get together and try to find this amazing molecule. Once they found it, they thought, wow, we've got... One of the primary researchers on nitric oxide was a gentleman by the name of Nathan Bryan. So they started looking at traditional Chinese medicines that had cardiovascular benefit, including Ganoderma. When they found that Ganoderma worked really well, what he said was the next step was to identify the active components in the traditional Chinese medicines responsible for producing nitric oxide. Nathan, Ganoderma was the herb that increased nitric oxide. There's a synergy in nature that cannot be duplicated and cannot be isolated. Nature provides. It's got all the things that we need if we learn to use it wisely. When we start talking about time in the US, 1 in 2, woman's risk, 1 in 3. Before the age of 55, highly invasive human breast and prostate cancer cells. That means it's the kind that will spread very easily. And when they gave them Ganoderma lucidum, there was suppression of cell migration, which means that people that took Ganoderma generally had better quality of life, better well-being, less fatigue, less depression, etc. When we start talking about Alzheimer's disease, anti-aging, that means it's proven that it's anti-aging, can prevent the harmful effects of beta amyloid, protects against the neurodegeneration, and can restore function. 60-minute sleep time. Ganoderma decreased the amount of time it took to fall asleep and increased total sleep time, and it did it by what's known as a gap. Ganoderma promotes survival and regeneration of injured spinal motor neurons. Poisoning include fatigue, sleep disturbance, intestinal distress, allergy symptoms, headaches, confusion, and anxiety. Testimonial about how a child was given Ganoderma and started getting normalized brain function back. And she asked me, is there something to that? So I'm an anti-inflammatory, an anti-tumor, an anti-ulcer, an antiviral. The pathogenesis of autism. Remember, it can cause catastrophic neuron degeneration. Is an immune support and an antiviral, but notice what it says. Ganoderma spores had significant anti-HIV protease, Ganoderma, and guess what? Herpes as well. And Ganoderma speeds records of the world's gut. It also inhibited Staph aureus. H. pylori is considered the causative organism of coconut oil, which, by the way, coconut oil also has anti-staph properties. Not only did it kill the infection, but it was completely healed in 7 days. Beautiful result. When we look at immune function, we've already talked about cancer. It's anti-breast, anti-prostate, anti-inflammatory breast, anti-leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma. It's anti-H. pylori, anti-staph. Some of the other viruses, anti-HIV, anti-herpes. It's also anti-H1N1 and anti-AIDS.